use does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? My media product, The Adjustment, is about an astronaut who returns from a year in space and has to readjust back to life on Earth. During this, the protagonist, Adam Quinn, has to deal with his main problem, gravity. In my media product, I used, developed, and challenged conventions of real media products. One convention I used was a male astronaut. Any film relating to astronauts typically stars a male ringleader and follows his story rather than females. Similar feature-length films are The Martian, Interstellar, and Astronaut. Statistics show that until January 2016, over 50% of NASA's astronauts were male. However, now 50% are female, but they are not represented equally in the media. In 2001, only 22% of NASA's astronauts were female. One conventional aspect of my short film was the genre. We defined it as a sci-fi mockumentary. Typically, short films either have a short film as the genre, or a mix of a few genres. We decided to follow this convention by using an unusual variation of genres, which leads on to the audience being more intrigued as to how the short would turn out. We also follow the convention of having some sort of comedy within the story, in which ours was mockumentary style. Shorts are often quirky with comedy weaved in, though this is dependent on the genre. This links in with the plot twist, which is normally used in a way to provoke a reaction from the audience. Our planned reaction was confusion and laughter. The plot twist is a typical and expected convention in a short film. Due to the fact short films are short, they don't have much time to attract the audience and have to grab their attention immediately. A quick plot twist can do this, such as in the short film The New Politics, which I used a lot to help create the storyline for my short. The plot twist follows on from the convention of cheesy humour which I used, which again is expected to help keep the audience entertained. However, I did challenge the convention of what an astronaut should look like. Adam Quinn is quite a stocky character, and not a hefty build like a normal, healthy astronaut is imagined to be. We decided to use the theme of self-acceptance, and showing tattoos furthered this point, because to date, there have been no astronauts with visible tattoos. This let the audience question his role as an astronaut, and challenge the dominant ideologies within the profession of an astronaut, subverting to them. We also developed the idea that short films are relatable in some way. Most are set in places like school or work. This helps to effectively gain the audience's empathy, attention and emotions. In my short, the setting was simple and relatable to most people, as it was mostly set in a town or house. Yet the entire storyline was not relatable, giving everyone a sense of confusion when they watch it, as it was almost like an oxymoron. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary text? The combination of my main product and ancillary text had a recognizable theme, space and the NASA logo. Both my poster and magazine review feature relevant pictures and colours. Both my poster and my magazine review feature recognizable colours which are easily linkable. This further illustrates that the language and visuals are structurally the same. This would mean that they attract the same target audience, if the writing on the star has the same type of flair to them. And this audience will likely go on to view the other advertising methods of my short and look at the synergistic links between them. The magazine review features a photo of Adam Quinn focused on his midsection, with his face at the top. His tattoos and the NASA logo can be quite clearly seen. The title is linked with the NASA logo on his chest, and his tattoos are to the side. The title is written on the NASA logo, which gives it a personalised effect. The audience will immediately relate the logo back to space, and the theme of the ancillary text is derived from this link. Posters can subsequently be linked back to the magazine review, due to the review having its title set out in the same way, but positioned differently within the layout. Ancillary texts are a good form of promotion due to the fact they can be linked, which gives the short something recognisable that people would automatically realise where it is from, e.g. Star Wars, and its yellow font with a starry background and rolling titles. Everyone knows what it is. The connection between different forms of promotion is important for an audience. When they learn to associate the products, they start to develop an understanding of the basics of the film, e.g. genre. This is of great significance as the audience will decide whether or not to watch it based on what they know. A lot of people use genre to decide what to watch and what not to watch. A knowledge of what the short is about will attract the correct target audience for my short. People who also read, write, and are interested in short films, as well as young adults. All my products are focused on my target audience, and the link will bring them together. My combination is also more effective down to the fact that the theme is more specified, and often features the NASA logo. Many sci-fi films or ones relating to outer space will have the centralized theme as space, which makes it hard to link specifically to one film, when many films try to use it. This concludes my effectiveness, because people can associate the ancillary text and the film, and the target audience will all be attracted to each piece of advertising due to the same style. What have you learned from your target audience feedback? Before we began filming, we came up with the storyline and planned the concept of the short, and then presented this to our class.
The interview lectures. Adam Quinn, he's our character.
We talked about the main character, Adam Quinn, the morals behind the film, the subject of matter which causes the whole situation, and the scenes we wanted to include. Our feedback was generally positive, but people wanted to know how we could play out the idea without letting it become confusing. They suggested the idea of a news interview where Adam talks about his problem with gravity and how he adjusts back into everyday life. I believe, looking back on it, that this scene was a perfect way to explain the backstory without taking too much time, as it is able to be a staple scene which can be swiftly moved on from. On January 17th, 2017, we had a film screening where an audience could watch our film and fill in surveys. The majority of answers correctly stated basic, although some people were confused, as said the titles do not fit the plot. One of the main points in our received feedback was the lack of direction within the plot. The scenes didn't flow and it made the storyline hard to follow. We decided that in order to make the narrative more comprehensible to an audience who may not know about real-life astronauts who go through this, we needed to incorporate more scenes to show the development of his habits. We also need to reconsider challenging the dominant ideologies of an astronaut, and maybe conforming to them more to fit with our target audience. Making it more realistic or conforming will make the short film more relatable and more believable. Through evaluating our feedback, we have learned that our film explores different character types to the norm people have seen portrayed in average space-related films, but their characteristics need to be increasingly matured for our target audience to understand how we're trying to challenge the dominant ideologies. Feedback about my poster proved that it did not have a clear theme, nor could it be obviously linked back to any of my other products. The title did not match with the poster, the release date was too small, the award wasn't clear enough, and other little things such as actors' names being placed incorrectly. In order to remedy this, I needed to come up with something which the audience could use to associate all forms of synergy use. This is where the title, The Adjustment, incorporated the shape of the NASA logo, creating a direct relationship between the short film between the short film and the theme of NASA and space. I further used this on my magazine review, which had already been decided to have no specific theme previously. This title gave both ancillary texts a clear tie in which audience could seek from relating different forms of advertising. The impact this had led people to being able to understand and have a basic idea of what the short was about, which consequently attracts the right target audience. How did you use media technologies in the construction and research planning and evaluation stages? In construction research and planning, I used a lot of different programs to help present informative research on my blog, located at tumblr.com. This helped give my blog a more graphic appeal and further helped educate me on how to use software and improve my skills. I used Prezi to present research I had done in a visually exciting way. This furthered my expense of a more graphical blog. I used the website Slides for the same reason as Prezi, but as a simpler method which is more minimalistic. Finding multiple programs to use was quite difficult, because if I continued using the same method on every post, then it would be detrimental to the thought of media having to be original. However, it led to a substantial increase in my knowledge of how presentation of research can lead to higher interest. I used Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my short film. The program gave me many options as to things such as different cuts between shots, filters, effects, e.g. color correction, stabilization of the shots. The program had a huge impact on my creative outcome. For example, I used color correction to correct lighting which was either too dark or too yellow. This helped make the film look more professional. I stabilized some of the shots which were jumpy, and this made the film flow better. I then used Adobe After Effects to help create the titles, credits, and the final rock scene. The titles and credits were created to have a starry background, continuing the theme of space throughout the entire short. This helps the audience interpret the genre. The rock scene had to be created using two different shots. In one shot, someone out of the camera was holding a rock using tape in front of the camera. The rock had to be cut away, so the tape could not be seen, and it looked like the rock was floating. Thus, the rock was placed on a reaction scene of Edna and Adam Quinn. This scene ends up looking like they are reacting to a rock flying in front of them. This is the plot twist for my film, and it impacts the audience, leaving them slightly bewildered, but amused at the comedic side of the scene. I used GarageBand to create music for my film, which had to fit with the scenes. We decided the music to be mysterious in some places, but a little less serious in others, in order to put across the sci-fi mockumentary genre. The impact this had on my film was that the audience would react emotionally with music. When it was mysterious, they were curious, but when it was less serious, they would tend to look at the comedy as opposed to a deeper meaning. I used Photoshop to create the title for both my poster and my magazine review. This ended up becoming a staple link between my ancillary texts, which eventually is important in attracting the correct target audience. I used InDesign to create my magazine review, which allowed me to style my review with quotes, pictures, captions, borders, and other typical conventions of an Empire magazine review. This gave structure to make my magazine review look like it came from the Empire magazine which I had based it on. I further used Photoshop to create my poster. I included typical conventions to make it look professional, e.g. a release date, actors, names, posters, production company. However, I extended it by making it individual to the short and augmented the theme of space, giving more synergistic links. The feedback I got from the screening was in the form of surveys, and I transferred the data into pie charts I could put onto my blog to continue the graphic effect. This gave a more visual and more obvious answer to each of the questions that I had asked, and it was easier to learn what I needed to improve on.